everybody, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. This is Christmas for me, but this video will come out the day after Christmas, so I hope everybody had a great Christmas. Got everything you wanted. Or maybe you're out afterwards looking for those deals, those end of the year deals. We're just taking it easy today, just relaxing. There's no shipping today or anything like that. Shipping will continue tomorrow. We have Christmas dinner later on. We just have breakfast and everything, so that'll be more food. We're having a little bit of Angel's Envy today. I almost said my personal favorite, but one of my favorite. It's favorite nonetheless. Assume everyone I drink is my favorite until I tell you otherwise. But this is finished in port wine barrels, so that's kind of their claim to fame. Definitely adds a more. It adds a more body to the liquid, a little more meatier of a whiskey. It's really delicious. One of my, I almost said it. It could be one of your favorites. Definitely give it a try. Not really necessarily a beginner's type of whiskey, but I'm pretty sure if you enjoy any type of whiskey, you might like this. If you enjoy any type of spirits, you might enjoy this one. I've had it right here. It's kind of breathing just a little bit. Oh yeah, you can definitely taste the difference between Angel's Envy and other bourbons. There's something else to it. Really gets me salivating. Really, it just really starts to get gets those glands working there. It really just builds it up in your mouth. It's like, oh man. When you're craving something, you're like, oh, I really want that. French fry, McDonald's French fries or something. You're really craving it. That's kind of what this does to me. And it always reminds me of the holidays for some reason. I don't know why. It always reminds me of the holidays. But cheers to everybody out there. And take a break. Take a break. I know a lot of people are saying take a break. It's time to sit back, relax, take it easy. And there's definitely, times when you have to do that and times when you have to get to work. So tomorrow we'll get back to work. Today it's just taking it easy, and a lot of this of what I do is fun. I think the part I dislike the most is it's the shipping, but it's not really necessarily the shipping. It's more so that I kind of have I'm on a schedule. I got to make sure I get these things out that day. So I put myself under a little bit of pressure to get everything out at a certain time frame. Not necessarily even get anything out, but have everything packaged and ready to go. I just kind of put a little bit of a crunch on myself, but I think we all do that with, not just necessarily reselling or selling or business or whatever. We think we just do that with life in general. I was, on Soda City Flips on his live show this past Monday. And I knew I had one floating around, and I had mentioned that I had found sealed whiskey at Goodwills before. And this is one of them. I know I had one of these floating around. I found these before. It's St. Andrew's Scotch whiskey. It's just a little, looks like I'm pretty sure they, maybe thought it was some sort of golfing accessory or golf ball or whatever. But it's actually, if you hear it, there is whiskey in there, all right. 86 proof, 50 milliliters, product of Scotland. So, completely sealed, brand new. I have found these ones before. There are some little houses. To me, they look like the houses from San Francisco. I believe they call them the Pink Ladies. That's what they look like. They kind of just have that tall. They're more in height, less in this way. Little houses, and they're actually from an airline, and I'm assuming they're given out during the trip because they're little porcelain houses, but they're filled with I think it's vodka, and they're usually sealed with wax on top. And I have found those at Goodwill. I found them empty, and I found them sealed, so it's still with vodka in them. So you can find this stuff out there. Can they sell it? No, they cannot sell it. Even if you find it at the flea market, you cannot sell it at the flea market. I'm pretty sure you can't sell it anywhere. I know definitely in California. I'm pretty sure it's just no matter where you're at. You might want to check with your local state laws, but I'm pretty sure you cannot sell alcohol at a garage sale, at a flea market. You have to have a license for it. So I know Texas, I've talked about this before. Texas, in my opinion, is heavily regulated when it comes to spirits, whiskey, whatever, liquor. When I would visit, I'm like, wow, it shocks me that I cannot buy a bottle of Angel's Envy or anything inside a Lucky, or, well, I guess a supermarket, I should say. I don't know what kind of supermarkets they have over there. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember right now, but I don't. I know they have a Total Wine over there, but you'd have to go to an official liquor store or a Total Wine to actually buy a spirit. I think you can get beer, though. Beer is fine. I think beer and wine's okay. Not 100% sure. But California, you can get it anywhere, basically. You can buy it at Goodwill, but you're not supposed to. Well, Goodwill's not supposed to sell it to you. But, hey, things happen. Call 911. So I don't really have much to talk about today. Not much, not really any topics or anything to bring up. So I just wanted to talk about a little bit about, why I do this, why I'm bringing you this, information out there, or my take on things, or my opinion on things. And for one, obviously I see everybody else, making money on YouTube, doing what they do in the reselling space. And I never really watched reselling content before. Up until about the pandemic came around, it started popping up on my feed, started getting recommended to me, and I'm like, okay, well, check this out. And I started, seeing all these people on there. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that people post reselling content on here. Reselling has been a thing for a long time, and if you look at those Storage Wars and all them, the Pawn Stars, all that pawn. Those shows, they've been doing it. I've been reselling since probably before that, but 1999 is when I officially started on eBay, buying and selling, primarily sports cards, memorabilia. Then, branched out into action figures, toys, vintage toys, and that's pretty much where I kind of remained. I, eventually got into computer parts, just because I've always been into, computer building, tinkering. Early on, I was in IT, and people would ask me, what do you know about this? About this computer. So I always end up with extra parts, and I started selling them on eBay, and I'm like, oh, hey, I guess I can sell these on eBay too. So I would sell extra parts on eBay that I would have lying around from different computer builds or from fixing computers. And so I would do that. And I stayed there for a long time just doing that. I had a full-time job that I enjoyed. And so I just resold on the side. I resold part-time for a very long time. And, it made decent money just doing that reselling. And it wasn't until I kind of, the job after I believe I've mentioned this before, but the pandemic really, really kind of taught me a lot about not just, healthcare in our country, but, our local hospital and the hospital I worked for. And it just showed it showed its true face, basically. And I didn't like it. I didn't like, what it had turned into. And, you always see, whenever there's the bad time, whenever, like in 2008, everything's going great with the housing market. Everybody's like, oh man, we're buying houses, we're getting houses. I got 2-3 houses. I had a friend that had 3 houses at one point, during that time frame, and lost everything. But, everything's going great. And it isn't until problems start occurring, it isn't until there's a major, down, like a recession going on, then all of a sudden, then all these cracks, all these faults start to appear. And then, hindsight becomes 2020, and they're like, oh, I saw that happen. And they put together the big picture. But it isn't until, a big event occurs that you realize, wow, that was really ugly. That was an ugly time. I can't believe people were doing this. People were robbing people here. People were doing this to these people. And, it isn't until big events. And so the pandemic really, really kind of showed me, the true side, the true face of healthcare and, the hospital in general. I didn't like it. And so I am in a fortunate position to be able to pull myself out of that situation, to have been able to pull myself out of the situation. And it just so happens at the time I had a bunch of, I was, obviously I was home most of the time because of the pandemic. And so I was cleaning out my stuff. And that's from we're really big fans of the second Thor movie. And the guy at the beginning, I forget what his name is. He's the guy from The Boys, main character, but he's there, in the what do they call it? Not the where they teleport Thor and everybody to the different worlds, and he's go, look at my stuff. This is a really good movie, really funny. I know a lot of people don't like it because of that, but I think it's really funny. It's really cool and enjoyable. But started going through my stuff and started selling it off, and I realized I was going through it first of all just to sort through things, condense things, and then I was like, what, I really don't. I have a lot of action figures just brand new in the package, still unpunched, which means they've never been hung on an actual shelf. So they've never been hung on those little, little hangers you see when you go over to the store, Target or anything. Never been hung on the thing. That's prized if you can find action figures that haven't been that way. So basically fresh out of a box. And I'm like, I'm never going to display these. I mean, they're sitting here in cases all the time. Right now is when you can get top dollar for them. I'm just going to start selling this stuff off. And I did. I sold a lot of stuff off. And everything was going for incredibly spiked prices. So I'm like, all right. So, then that kicked off. I'm like, oh, well, I'll just go ahead and, I went from making, a few thousand on eBay a month to now having to make a few thousand a week. Easier for me because I've already been doing it since 1999. So easy for me to kind of make that transition. I talked about that in my video yesterday. Easy for me because there's a lot of Goodwills around me. There's a lot of thrift stores around me. There's a lot of great flea market around me. So I have I have an opportunity to be able to do that. And other people have the same opportunity. And like I mentioned in the previous video, that some people, there are barriers that they will need to break through in order to achieve that. But you really won't. People really, I think a lot of people lose sight of what what we can accomplish. And if you really, really go back in history and you look at how some of these, seven wonders of the world were built, the ancient seven wonders of the world as well too, just any structures back in the day, to this day and age, we have so many tools, so many resources to build skyscrapers, yet people were making buildings out of rock, out of limestone, carving giant, statues. And what do they have? They just had manpower. They just use manpower. So humans, people, and by man I don't mean just men, males, women as well too. We all have, the ability to do so much more. We just have so much more. It's really true. Basically, almost whatever you can imagine, you could probably do. Within reason. Obviously, there are limits. But sometimes in science, we see those limits, and we can prove that they can be, outdone. So, like like the speed of sound, not many people thought we could break the speed of sound, but yet there were proven ways to break the speed of sound, and eventually we were able to get a human to break, the sound barrier. Obviously not on their own, they needed to be in a machine, but we are able to take down certain limitations. There are some that we will not be able to take down. Like we will not be able to, if you have problems with eBay, we'll not be able to probably not be able to become the CEO of eBay and make whatever changes you would like. But it's possible. Hey, it's possible. Anything's possible. So, don't put limits on yourself. You will need to sometimes break through barriers in order to make certain things happen. I know people that go long distances, compared to me, in relative to me, I know people that drive long distances to go to flea markets to sell. I know people that only do flea markets and they hit all the flea markets in the area, and the area is sometimes up to 100 miles away just to get sales. So there are ways to do it. Sometimes it might be, it might take some work. It might take some work. And, I definitely have my own, challenges and things that I have to overcome. Things I don't like. Sometimes I'm too tired. Sometimes, sometimes I have to drive to several Goodwills. You've heard me mention I might have to integrate a new Goodwill into my schedule. Just because I want to get more stuff. I want to get more stuff, more good stuff, and I'm definitely going to have to integrate some more Goodwills into the rotation, so that way more sourcing. I'm going to have to do that. So in the new year, I'm definitely going to have to look at my schedule and adjust accordingly to try to make sure I get everything done that I need to get done and still get more sourcing done. So, I'm trying to bring everybody here in YouTube world, into YouTube land, into social media. My opinions over the course of reselling for a very, very long time. Now, when I first started sourcing, or when I would source, it was with friends. It was at card shows, sports shows. It was at local card shops, memorabilia places. And then Craigslist started coming around, and that became a great source to find inventory. Craigslist is now no longer really a great place to find inventory. I used to be able to buy huge collections. Then now it's not so much. Sometimes I come across it, sometimes I don't. A lot of people, want more than what I can possibly pay, so that way I can make money as well too. And that's okay. So though that's, a lot of challenges I've had to overcome, things I've had to learn how to get around. Maybe not necessarily break through it, just get around it and find new avenues to source and new ways to find inventory. But before it was all Craigslist. I found everything I needed on Craigslist. But then again, remember, I was part-time. I was only doing it part-time, and I was buying I would buy huge collections. I remember I did a Star Wars action figure by, I think it was around $1,200, but I had a massive amount. It was over 3,000 pieces of brand new, mostly brand new. Some of it was wrecked, but mostly brand new Star Wars toys from the 90s, and some early stuff from the 80s, mostly 90s stuff, but I got it at a really great deal. And that lasted me a while because I was only doing it part-time. So that lasted me for a good chunk of amount of time. And then I found another, then I would still be searching. I would still be searching out Craigslist, looking for great deals, and come across another deal. After I ran out, then I would get a little bit more intense in looking for deals. I had a local guy that would supply me with a lot of vintage toys that I would resell. I would look for old crypto mining rigs as well too, to piece those out. So that was what I used to do when I was part-time. When I'm full-time, I got to be out at the flea markets, at thrift stores. So you're going to not just encounter challenges right off the bat, but as things evolve, as time goes on, you'll encounter new, different challenges that you probably didn't face the year before that, and you got to move past it. You got to break past it. You got to break past those barriers, break them down, and you will be successful in that. So let's go ahead and, that being said, let's go ahead and go on to what sold. And right off the bat, let's pull this up here. We have a Noah's Ark. Now, this is a music box, really, really cool, very heavy. Wallace Silversmiths. Now, Wallace Silversmiths is definitely a good name to be on the lookout for, but it doesn't necessarily mean that all Wallace Silversmith items are great. Most of them are not. I'll tell you that right now. Most of the stuff I find are not very good at all. And because they are metal, they'll typically be higher price. People ask higher prices. You'll be higher prices at Goodwills. Um, oh, really quick. One thing I forgot to mention was one of the reasons why I have transitioned most of my videos now to mostly thrift stores, mostly Goodwills, is because Goodwills are everywhere. Goodwills are pretty much all over the place. Let me know in the comments down below if you don't have a Goodwill in your city, what your city is, and if you have a Goodwill or not. But Goodwills are pretty, widespread across the country, spread out across the country pretty well, I think. I think a lot of people can make it to a Goodwill, and just showing that there are items there you can buy, and it's not necessarily the obvious stuff. So, okay. So, but this is really cool. I know I picked this up at the flea market. I got it for $1. It, Noah's Ark. Christianity, animals, sculpture. It's a music box. Now, music boxes typically don't do that well. But I thought this was really cool due to the subject matter, due to the fact that it has animals, due to the fact that it's Noah's Ark. So I did sell it. I sold it for $18.06. $6.44 is what the shipping was on this item, and this went in a poly bag. It was, it was a bit heavy, but and it's not very, very fragile. Obviously, like the trunk, you want to be careful of. But I still wrapped it 4 times in bubble wrap and put this in a padded poly mailer, and it made it nice and safe. Oops, I'm going backwards. We saw that in the last video. Okay, so we have sports cards. Speaking of sports cards, but more specifically, I think the reason why this sold is because of Ricky Henderson, and recently passed away. Kind of, unfortunate that things sell when people pass away, like those people's items that they maybe created or their imagery is on starts to suddenly sell after, they pass away. Like no one really cared before they passed away, but Ricky Henderson, Oakland A's, he played for some other teams, but Oakland A's, legends, and I really think that's why this sold for. I put this together. I got a bunch of baseball cards in a big lot, and it really appealed to me because this is from my era. This is when I collected, was in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, early 2000s, when I collected, when I was buying and selling. And so I remembered all these cards, and I picked them all up, and I lotted them together. I didn't, most of them were not worth anything, so I pulled out the ones that I thought I could lot together and still get some decent profit on. We'll make money overall on all the cards I bought, but it's going to be slow, and it's not very, very much each lot at all. $8.90 is what this lot sold for. $5.39 is what they paid in shipping. It gets wrapped up in bubble wrap, of course. It is in a team bag. Team bag is just a little plastic bag, and that fits cards. And goes in the padded poly mailer. So really, really cool. I mean, obviously Ricky Henderson, unfortunately passed away young, in my opinion. And, just a legend, a guy that just loved baseball, played baseball all the time. Even after, he was not in the major leagues, he still played baseball, every chance he got. I mean, just an amazing, just the work ethic that he put into it is, something to be admired. Just a great, player, just a great athlete overall. I can't say enough good things, about Ricky Henderson. I definitely enjoyed many, many games, many Oakland A's games from my bunk bed when I was a kid, watching on TV, especially when I was sick. I was sick a lot when I was a kid. Okay. A purse. I sold this purse, and the reason why I bring up this purse, I don't really show too many purses because I think everyone knows purses sell all the time. There are certain brands that sell better than others. Most are passed up, but there are ones that do sell better than others. And one of the reasons why I bring this one up, so this is Juicy Couture. Definitely a good name. And it sold for $38.48, so not bad. We made some pretty good money on this one. $11.70 is what the shipping was. This went in one of those 1410 6 boxes. But the reason why I show you here is because this brand of purse and jewelry, because I do sell jewelry as well too, Even though I don't feature it too much, I do sell jewelry as well. But it hasn't been doing that good. So my Juicy Couture items over the course of the second half of the year, it has really the sales velocity, the speed has really gone down in this brand name. It's been sitting for a lot longer than I typically am used to when it comes to Juicy Couture. And that happens. That definitely happens quite a bit. All of a sudden, brands will get really hot and they'll go right back down. Especially in this day and age of social media, somebody will start pumping something, and all of a sudden that thing will take off. Everybody will be wanting it, and then after a few months, it goes right back down. So that can happen no matter what you sell, no matter what category you're in. Things can get really hot and all of a sudden go right back down. And I definitely think that's the case right now with Juicy Couture. Definitely a brand associated with Y2K. I don't think this purse is a Y2K purse, but definitely the name is associated with Y2K, which is why I put Y2K in there. This was really cool because it came with a little coin wallet or coin pouch on the side. This was fairly brand new. It was not, used, even though I listed used because I can't prove that it was brand new. There were no tags on it or anything like that. Excuse me. Sorry, I had a little hiccup there. It was kind of... just a really, really cool Juicy Couture purse. If it was earlier in the year, it definitely would have sold quicker. This held on for a few months, and it did sell eventually. Like I said, $38.48 is what it ended up selling for. We did make some profit on it, but in the future, I'm definitely cutting back. I haven't been buying any Juicy Couture anything. I've seen Juicy Couture out there, and generally, Juicy Couture will be priced up around close to where Coach is priced at. In the second-hand market, of course, at thrift stores, at flea markets, and or garage sales. I don't really have too much data on garage sales because I don't go to them in garage sales, as you know. So I've definitely slowed down to zero, essentially picking up Juicy Couture, unless it's an incredible deal. If I find an incredible deal on it, I won't pass it up. It will still sell. I'll just need to be aware that it will sit for a little while. So definitely slow down on buying Juicy Couture purses and jewelry. Not so sure about other stuff because I don't really sell other Juicy Couture items. But I do know the jewelry and purses are not moving that fast at all anymore. So it could be in a bit of a downturn, and obviously not going for as much as it should have probably gone, because in my opinion, this probably should have gone closer to $60, but it did not. So just be something to be aware of, and that is why I am featuring it here in this video so I can talk about that. This right here sold insanely fast. It sold for $20. $10.04 is the shipping on that. This went in a padded poly bag. It's an IKEA. It's actually, I didn't show a picture of the back, but it's actually a tote / backpack. And this sold within about 10 hours. So am I picking up Juicy Couture or am I picking up IKEA now? What am I doing? Am I going to IKEA? If I can find, enough IKEA that will sell at, this rate. I think this is kind of unique though, because this is a convertible. It is a tote. It is a backpack. It is a zip up. It's really, really cool. Very versatile item. And like I said, sold very, very quickly. It will sell quickly. It seems to sell very quickly for about $20 to $25. Definitely keep that in mind. So when you're buying it, you generally want to stay below $5. You want to stay below $5. It is really, really cool because you probably can get away with putting this in a non-padded poly bag, but I just preferred for it to go in a poly bag. There is some hardware on the opposite side on the actual backpack straps, so I wanted a little bit of protection just for those, which is why I ended up putting it in a padded poly bag. But really cool, very fast selling item. So IKEA tote bag / backpack. Keep your eye out for it. Again, you want to spend less than $5 on this item because it's going to go for right around $20. And then the last thing here is a UC Davis. This is a shirt, a long sleeve shirt. Definitely keep your eye out. I talked about pennants not too long ago, but college items do really well. UC Davis is here in California. It's known for their medical school. It's just up the freeway from me, so not that far. Probably about a 2.5 hour drive, I would think, away from me. I used to drive by it all the time when I was going up to Lake Tahoe. But vintage JanSport UC Davis might not be the fastest seller. It took a few months to sell this item, so some of these university things, you're gonna have to wait for the right buyer. But there are people that do look for university items, so keep your eye out for them. So UC Davis shirt. I don't think I put what's the mascot for UC Davis, because I think it says it on the sleeve. And I don't think I included it in there because I wanted to fit all the other keywords in there. Large, gray, men's, made in USA. If it's made in USA, I'm putting made in USA in the title. I definitely think it helps to get that thing sold. But keep your eye out for college branded things. They do incredibly well. I just picked up Gnome. Is that it? That's it. It's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we got 5. Okay, perfect. I just picked up a Stanford Gnome, which should sell for around $40-ish, and I think a lot of people know about Stanford. Not too many people, I don't think, know about UC Davis, but everybody in California knows about UC Davis. So, Merry post-Christmas Day. Happy New Year, because that is rapidly approaching, and get everything tidied up around your business. I know some people were talking about doing inventory checks. Come beginning of the year, we start going back through all the boxes and going through inventory, checking everything. Although I've never personally, a lot of people were talking about items getting lost or items not listed on eBay anymore. Now, I have never experienced, I believe I mentioned this in a previous video about vanishing listings. I have never, and the reason why I brought that up in that video is because I have never experienced that. I've never had an item not listed that I was not aware about. Have I ever lost an item? Not recently, knock on wood. That's one of the reasons why I bring information, because I've gone through the trials and errors of eBay. I've been on eBay. I've been buying items where, before we could look them up on eBay to see if it's even worth it, to see what they'd sell for. I've been through the lost item things. I've been through all that stuff. I've experienced all that stuff. Every time an error happens, I tighten up my processes. I make sure that doesn't happen again. And so everything I'm doing now is a result of, all the years that I've built up in experience to get me to this point. So that's another reason why I want to also, share everything here is, just my experience. And, when I started seeing content, about reselling, about eBay, I have to bring my thoughts and opinions on that. And, because I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot on eBay. Trust me, you don't want to go backwards on eBay. Everybody that, talks about, all the issues with eBay nowadays, what they see, what they experience with this, that. You don't want to go backwards back to when I was on eBay, back 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's improved a significant amount, and I will always be a fan of eBay. Almost always, I should say. I'm from Silicon Valley. I'm a tech guy. I've been, involved in tech companies around here. I've worked with tech companies around here before. I've been in IT before. So it's. I'm a tech guy all the way around. And so I will always be a fan of Silicon Valley, people that come out of Silicon Valley, companies that come out of Silicon Valley. That's where I'm from. I'm biased. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know how your guys' Christmases, let me know how your Christmases went. And still making sales. Still making sales. Hopefully you guys are making sales as well too. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Hey, you've made it to the end. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video by hitting the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel by hitting my little round icon down below. It really does help us out here. Also, you'll find a couple of selections. You'll see a playlist of videos to watch and my most recent video that I did upload.